So generally speaking, you want your car expense to be 10 to 15% of your overall take home pay, right? You don't want it to be more than that, because then you're going to, right, your house is already going to be like what, 30
well,
to
and some people it's up to
50, right? Exactly. So if your car is 10 to 15% of your take home pay, okay, but that's your car expense. That's everything for your car, right? That includes insurance, licensing, maintenance.
Welcome to One with the Other Way, a podcast about your journey and finances. I'm your host, James. We have Peggy with us today, and we're doing another Reddit episode. We had some good feedback from it, so we've got some fun stories to talk about today from r/personal finance. Peggy, the first one we have up for today is someone who hasn't had any savings in their retirement, and they're 36 years old.
I don't have anything saved for retirement at 36. I currently make $71K gross, $55K net. I have around $63K in debt, no assets or savings, no college degree. This is the most money I've ever made. I have been incredibly irresponsible with money, and it took me a long time to grow up. My eyes have magically opened this year, and things are making more sense. I've just started budgeting. I'm projected to pay off all of my debt by the end of 2027. If I care less about my student loans, around $20K, and just pay the minimums, then I could have the main bulk of my debt paid off by end of 2026. $2,100 per month for around 20 months. My employer matches 5%, and that will start April 2026 for me, so I am not contributing right now. I'm also focusing on improving my health through the end of this year. Should I focus on aggressively paying off all of my debt, then start aggressively saving for retirement? For example, max out 401k for 23.5K. Or should I pay down my debt, save for a down payment on a house, and buy maybe a modest condo, and then aggressively save for retirement in my 40s and 50s? Luckily, I'm single with no kids. I would love to increase my income to 100K plus, since Seattle is crazy expensive, but I haven't worked that out yet. I was only making 27K in 2020, so I have come a long way.
Let's chat about this. What's your first instant reaction to seeing this kind of situation? I'm assuming you've probably heard something similar to this before from just normal people on the street, or just friends, clients, whomever may be.
All right. So first, on that actual posting, the person is kind of hard on themselves, right? Because they talk about how they were irresponsible and now they're being responsible, all of that. So frankly, 36 isn't that bad. I've seen worse, obviously, and we've seen better. I think a lot of people don't start thinking about retirement until they get to, through their 20s, which is not necessarily a good thing, because we've talked before about, rate of return, amount of investment, and time, and how time is your most important asset. Start focusing on it now is what that would be my first thought. There's a lot in that. This is the post, right, that has the student loans and all of that, right?
Yeah, there's a lot going on. There's loans. They've got, it seems like, some other debt, but they're also trying to focus on a lot of other things at the same time. It sounds to me that this person's got a lot on their plate in terms of what they think they need to be managing all at one time. And I know there are sources that'll say, hey, just pay off all your debt, don't do any investing, get the debt out of the way, and then you can start investing. But I know some advisors don't believe that. I want to hear what your thoughts are on trying to tackle both at the same time versus, handling one thing at a time. What's your thoughts on that?
Okay, so I would start focusing on multiple things here. It's great that you're starting to think about it. I don't think you should put it off for the future. I think you should start now investing for your future, because time is your most important asset. I think you need to do some serious cash flow reflection, find out where you are in your cash flow, how much you can start investing, and start doing it. The 401k thing is important because it will lower your tax burden, which that money, lowering your tax burden right now, that money can directly go into investment, right? I know that it states that the employer isn't going to start giving money until later. It's good that you realize that as soon as the employer starts giving money, you need to be in there. because that's important, right? Don't leave money on the table, right? They're giving it to you.
Yeah.
So you want to definitely make sure you take advantage of that. You want to get into the 401k so that you can start saving. I think the most important thing for this person is that they have made the awareness, they made the decision, I need to look at this stuff. So, hey, good job. That's the first step. Now you have to take steps. You have to take action. So the action here is going to be look at your cash flow, talk to a professional, ideally, but look at your cash flow and find out how much you can start investing and then start doing it while also paying attention to your liabilities that you have. You do need to maintain that and just come up with a plan for getting rid of your liabilities, the debts that you have.
Well, a question that comes to my mind during all this is that, like, that realization, coming to that realization that, there needs to be a change here. From my reading of this post, it seems that maybe their realization was around, hey, I actually don't think I'll be able to ever afford a home, or I might not be able to anytime soon. And so you have these big purchases that come up in people's lives. What are your thoughts on, hey, you realize this goal that you wanted for a while may not be achievable right now? How do you work with someone towards coming up with a realistic expectation on if they can plan for these things down the road? Because to me, it sounds like in trying to do all these at the same time, they're still asking the question, should I save for a down payment on a house right now?
So it is a lot, and you do have to balance a lot of things. Okay. So this person also mentioned that they don't have kids right now. And so that's a good thing. But that also, are they planning to have kids later? Because let me just tell you that when you do start having kids, everything changes, right? And all of your priorities change, your finances change a lot. I wouldn't focus on, like, if you think about all of it, you could get overwhelmed. So break it down, do your cash flow, start investing, look at your liabilities. You have to do those, get your emergency fund. And if you want a house, that's something that will, be in your future, maybe, depending on, who you are and what you want. And, the conversation or the question, the comment that they put in here about, should I get a condo for a while or a house? Well, that's something that makes a difference on, will your lifestyle be supported by the condo? And are you just making this choice? Like, maybe renting is the better choice. They took a really great step by, okay, I need to start thinking about my future. I'm 36 years old and I have to think about my future. So great. But then which part of your future is your priority? It's going to be conversations with somebody, because I don't know, maybe your priority is going to be the house for whatever reason, or maybe your priority is actually something else. And I don't know without talking to you. And you're right. Some people out there on the internet that are advisors and some people that aren't are first going to say, just get rid of all of your debt. I wouldn't necessarily say that. I think that starting your retirement is important. I think that taking advantage of the 401k is important. This person also mentioned their health. So what does that mean? Yeah. I don't know. And is that just that they're really stressed out? Because, from looking at this, I could see that this person could just be really stressed out. Maybe they're comparing themselves to their peers. Maybe they're comparing themselves to a brother or a sister or something. And the other person is, in their opinion, doing much better. But that may not be true. I mean, there's a lot going on there. So yeah, focus on your health. That's a good thing. What is that going to cost and how does that fit into your whole financial plan? Yeah. And without knowing all of those factors, I can only say, good job for thinking about it. Get control of your cash flow, look at it, and start today.
How much car can I afford? I currently make around $50K before taxes. I have $6K in a high yield savings account, $9K in my brokerage, $7K in my Roth, and around $740 to $750 for my credit score. How much of a car loan or what price range should I look at? Also, how much should I put down? Is it worth draining my emergency fund? Monthly expenses, around $1,000 if I am cheap, typically closer to $1,400.
Next post we have here, much more of, I guess, a straightforward question. How much car can I afford?
Oh, yeah, that's totally straightforward. No, it is not.
It's
That
not
is
straightforward
so
at all.
funny. Okay.
The question comes off as if it's straightforward, but it's totally not.
Right. So how much car can I afford? So first thing, how much money do you make? They seem to know that, right?
Yep.
All right. So generally speaking, if you're going to get a car, there's so many things to think about here. This is actually a really big topic, right? I mean,
Oh, yeah.
what are your major purchases in life? Your house and your car, right? I mean, those
Or
are big
numerous
outlays
cars.
of money, or numerous cars. And we're all going to have numerous cars.
Yes.
All right.
Wanda says, like, what? You get a new car every 7 years, roughly?
Yeah, I think it's 7 to 11 or something
Yeah.
like that years. Yeah. I'm due for a new car, but that's a whole another topic. So here's the thing. Take home pay, right? So first of all, let's just understand what that means, right? So take home pay, obviously, it's pretty simple. It's what you take home. So that is your pay after you've paid taxes and hopefully your 401k and your HSA and your insurance. That's take home pay, right?
Which I think is more important to have for your understanding your picture than just saying your gross pay.
Right. And I don't know, did this person say gross or did
they said gross? They said $50K before taxes.
Okay, so right, $50K before taxes. All right. So generally speaking, you want your car expense to be 10 to 15% of your overall take home pay, right? You don't want it to be more than that because then you're going to, right, your house is already going to be like what, 30
well,
to
and some people it's up to
50. Right, exactly. So if your car is 10 to 15% of your take home pay, okay, but that's your car expense. That's everything for your car, right? That includes insurance, licensing, maintenance.
Some people should plan for the gas that they're going to be using for their car.
Well, right. So that plays into it, but fuel's kind of going to come a little bit different in your living expenses, I think. But so if you're planning, say 10%, right? So even if this person made $50,000 take home, right? Then 10%, you do the math. And that's take home. So, when you look at it, it's not a lot.
No, it's $5,000.
Well, yeah. So, but you break it out monthly.
Yes.
Right?
So your car payments in a year.
Not your car payments, but not just your car payments, your insurance.
Yes. Car payments plus insurance plus maintenance should equal 5,000
10 to 15, right? 5,000 or less. But that's not even true because that's take home, and we know this person is going to have to pay a minimum of 10% tax.
Yeah.
So now we're down to 4,500.
Yep.
Right. So it's not a lot.
No, does that worry you at all, knowing that? I feel like cars are expensive, like super expensive now.
Cars are really expensive now. And so, yeah, if you think about it like that and think about how much a $50,000 salary is more than the median in a lot of states, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that says that even if it was 50,000 take home, 5,000, so 5,000 divided by 12, that's not a big car payment. And it's not even the payment. The payment has to be less than that.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Now there are some others out there who say, how much car can I afford? Well, how much money do you have in the bank? That's how much car you can afford.
Oh, because you would pay it straight in cash?
Pay cash.
Yeah.
Now, as you know, and from our other podcasts, we don't generally say buy your car with cash, especially depending on what kind of car you're buying, right?
Mm-hmm.
It depends on interest rates. So, I mean, this person, you're going to talk about interest rates. Is it worth it? How much money are you going to put down? All of that factors in here. So, yeah, this person is hopefully not going to buy a brand new car, right? Most people don't need a brand new car because you drive it off the lot, depreciation quickly. So there's that. And then second thing, you're going to buy a used car. Okay, so, if you buy a used car from a dealer, I'm saying that the minimum is going to be like 15,000, I think.
Yeah.
For most cars right now, you're not going to get a car for less than 15.
Unless you're buying like from someone else, but you have no
Right, a
idea
private party
what you're
sale.
getting.
Right. I urge you to make sure that you know what you're getting when you do that.
Ask for the Carfax.
Yeah, maybe have your mechanic that you trust look at it if you can. There's a lot of things there. So yeah, I'm sorry to say, but it's not going to be a brand new $25,000 car that this person can afford, or even a used $25,000 car. I would not recommend that.
Quickly, what would happen if someone overspent on a car in this environment?
Well, the same thing when you overspend on anything, right?
Going underwater on a car is, I feel like actually kind of common now. I hear about it more often. People owing a lot more on their car, having this massive loan on a car, having crazy interest rates.
It's interesting that you chose this one just because some things that are going on with some situations that I'm currently working on. There's a couple situations where the car payments go on for like 6 years.
Oh, wow.
Right?
That's
so let's
longer
just
than
talk
normal.
about that for a second. Say you get a car. Well, 5 years is used to be the max, right?
Yes.
And then it was if you bought a car that was more than 35,000 or 25,000, then you could have it 6 years and then 8 years. If you buy a new truck, a new truck is like $50,000 or more, $80,000 between $50,000
Oh
and
my
$80,000.
gosh, yeah, trucks are expensive.
Right. Okay. So, well, think about what that loan's going to be.
Huge.
You're not going to do a loan on a truck for 5 years. Imagine what the payment would be. Okay. So that's a whole nother topic. We're going to talk about this is just a person getting a regular car. This person is saying that their monthly bills are $1,000, $1,400.
Impressive.
Well, right. But then that makes me think, do you live at home or do you have roommates? So say you get a car payment and we'll just say $500 a month.
Okay.
That's almost half. Right? If they were $1,500, okay, so a third of their total living expenses now goes to the car.
That seems excessive.
Right. And you're signing up for 5 to 7 years. Right? Depending on the total.
And that's just going to come out of you're going to get your paycheck and then that money's gone.
5 to 7 years. So if you are renting or you have roommates or you live at home, are you going to live at home that entire time? If not, don't forget that when you have to move, you're going to have to pay rent. And
that's true.
If you're like living at home and you're like, yeah, but I'm only going to live here for a year or two. Well, you better factor that in when you start thinking about.
That's a good point.
Signing up for debt that's going to be that long term.
Yeah, because that's going to impact your cash flow for a while.
Right. So my advice here would be to really look at your cash flow and understand all of your expenses. I would want to understand all the expenses this person had. And then, then we would talk about net versus gross. We would talk about any other types of, living situation and the length of time they're going to be there before we could say how much can you afford. Or you can go the real strict way and say you can afford whatever is in your bank account right now,
Yeah. If you ever need to speak to a financial advisor about buying a car or saving for retirement, you can meet with Peggy at financesforlife.com. You can use the schedule appointment button on the top right of the page. You can also continue following this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. We post every 2 weeks, so send us your topics if you have something that you're interested in. We'd love to hear from you guys. So thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed the episode. We'll talk to you later. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA, SIPC. Investment advice offered through Finances for Real Life, a registered investment advisor and separate entity from LPL Financial. The opinions voiced in this podcast are for general information only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. To determine which strategies or investments may be suitable for you, consult the appropriate qualified professional prior to making a decision.